Right, I pressed a button and I've lost the visuals, but I've got your speaking. So, hi, how are you? I've no idea whether we're going to be on the right cameras and everything, so I'm going to have to keep checking. I don't know what I pressed, and I don't know where you are. So, yeah, this is so typical of me. This is, me and technology. I'm all right if I'm left alone to just fiddle around and everything. So, you're just going to have to keep me up to date whether I am not there, okay, or if I forget the camera, because normally your comments are over there and I pressed a button and all the picture disappeared, and I'm a bit worried about pressing more buttons and everything. Right, so I haven't got much to tell you. I showed you all the stuff in the shop yesterday, and we did the raffle, so that's all done. So I'm on front facing, thanks Claire. So we are going to do Kindle cover. Okay, so 3. This is Dave's Kindle cover. This is why we're making it, is because Dave wanted one, and if I'm going to find time to make him one, I have to do it as a 1 o'clock. This is his Kindle cover. All right, he has loved this Kindle cover for so long. I mean, you can see where it's all starting to fray and everything. So he had a new Kindle because the old one he couldn't, even though it was still working, he couldn't order from it and everything. So I bought him a new Kindle for his birthday, and as you can see, it no longer fits. So we said, I want one exactly the same. And I'm thinking, well, I don't have any of that tweed stuff. If I'd have known, I'd have kept some of his dad's jackets. And he wanted cord and all of this. And I thought, I don't know. So I had a look through my stash. Not that any of us have any stash. We know this, don't we? And I came up, I had some cord for, I've got enough cord to make, hopefully, a coat or a jacket. So I've pinched some of that, okay? And I found some aeroplane type fabric, spots, because he liked the spots, and the cord to go at the end. And you can see I've made it fit. Okay, so we're working on making another one exactly the same to show you how I did it. All right. Now, if I can remember how I did it, that would be a good thing. I took his Kindle and I measured his Kindle. All right. So this would work. This works in the same way as the journal cover. I don't know whether you've seen our pattern of the journal cover. This works about covering a book or your iPad or anything like that. So I measured it and it came to 7. All right, it's just a bit under 7, but 7 by 5. Okay, so I know that I need to make it bigger. Now I worked it out. The journal covers are worked out an inch bigger, so I needed to cut it at 9 by 7. I think I went 9 by 7 because that worked. Okay, and I sewed at 1/4 inch, but when I was sewing it I had to unpick it again because I kept missing this. Just didn't go into the seam. I think if I pulled it now it was only just in the seam. So I decided what I would do is I would work it out at 1 inch. No, I've still cut it as 1 inch, haven't I? Yeah, I've still cut it at 1 inch. Maybe cut it a bit bigger if you want there to be a bigger overlap. Okay. I think I've cut it longer that way, but not that way. And then use edge of foot. All right. So we're going to give that a go. If it ends up smaller, that's fine because my Kindle is smaller again than Dave's. So if it ends up too small, I can use it. So that's okay. So I cut out the outside fabric, okay? And I like to build them so that I know I've got everything. Then I had my wadding, which was a piece of wadding I had. It's slightly smaller, but that's not going to matter because it'll still be within the seam. I've got some bears because that was what I found in my stash. Okay, I've got bears. And then for the pockets, I'm going to do a big pocket, and there was a bit, the way I cut it, there was this bit left over. So I've got, what did I measure that at? This one, I've done it at 9.5 by 8.5. Okay, fold it in half, and we're going to put a top stitch along there just to keep it folded, although you don't have to. So that's going to go there. And then I've got another bare fabric, and I've made sure that I've cut it at directional. And that one is going to be 5.5 by 9.5. 8.5. I must have, yeah, this must be 8.5 by 9.5. 9.5? 8.5. 8.5 by 9.5. And this one's 8.5 by, what did I say? 5.5. And I've just folded them in half. That way you haven't got to think about what you're putting on the inside. Okay. And then I need a button thingy. This is much too long, but a button thingy, which we're going to put in here at some point. Okay, so that's going to go in there. And then you've got your corners. So that one will be sewn into the seams. That one will be sewn into the seams. Now I did it so that they'd be directional, because there's a nap on this. I need to turn that one round because the nap's the wrong way. Look at me. I don't think it really matters with these. So I'm going to put those up there. Then I've had to fold this down. So you want a little hem, because we're going to sew this straight to this fabric. Okay. Now, in order to get that folded corner nice and neat, I cut that corner off like that. So when I fold it down like that and then fold it in on itself, I've not got any extra bulk. Okay, like that. And that's going to go over here somewhere. We're going to measure it, and the same with this one. I'm going to cut that corner off there, diagonal, so that when that folds down like that, and that, and then that, you should do it so that, there you go. Got to think about it, sir. Okay, so these bits are going to end up in my seam allowance. These we're going to sew to this fabric. I think that's all I've got there. Oh, and a button for the front. Okay, so I'm going to put those over there for now, and we're going to deal with these. Okay, so what have you all been saying? I can see you all chatting and things. So you're all here. How are you all doing? So I've missed saying hello to everybody, so hello everybody. stashes and inflation proofing my future mates. Well, if you think about it, you're insulating your home with them as well, Jean. So getting a bit tatty, so you'll try making another one. Yeah, I mean, you could have one to go with every outfit then, couldn't you? So, right, over to here. Now, I don't know whether you noticed, Sarah's gone and put her other machine up for me because I think she's scared about me using the other one, but she's taken the other one. There was fabric caught in the bobbin. I'm sure that wasn't me, but I'll take full responsibility. So that's been back to oh, that's better. That's been back to Drew. Isn't this one noisy compared to the other one? Taken it back to J&B and they've sorted it out. They've found a stray thread. So I'm just putting on the folded edge, I'm just putting in a top stitch which just keeps it sharp. Okay. And like I say, this is if you've done the journal cover, then you're pretty much halfway there to deciding how this works as well. I think the only thing that's different is instead of the pocket at the back, we're putting what we're doing? We're putting flaps on it. Right, now you're going to line this one up. Now you can leave it as a big pocket, depending on what you want to keep in your pockets, but the one that Dave had on his original Kindle had a pocket that was delineated. Is that the right word? Zaved. So do that before you put it onto your book, your Kindle cover, because that way it's not going all the way through and you've still got one big pocket. Okay, so we're just it's all these buttons. I don't know which buttons to press. Now, there we go. Are we on this one now? So we've got our pocket. Okay, so we know that that pocket's going to go on there. We're just going to put that over there for now, and we're going to deal with this bit. Okay, now back to our Kindle. Now I think these are a little bigger than what they were, so that's going to sit there. Okay, and you just want to be able to get the corners of your Kindle in. All right, this is not sitting right. Let's do that. Make sure that's all tucked in like that. I'll tuck that in a minute, and we want that to be sitting there pretty much, don't we? Yeah, by there. So we're going to pop that, and I'm going to pin that in place there. I'm going to go that way, so we're going to just pin that. In fact, it's quite thick, so we're going to just put that there, so that I've got another hand that I can tuck all that away. It doesn't seem to be. Let's chop a bit more off these. This is how you do it. You just chop it off. It's a bit like when you cut your own hair. Well, just take a little bit more off there. Oh, there we go. So you want that there. All right, so this is actually going to be, oh, you need it in. You want it, you don't want it more than halfway, do you? So there's halfway. So you're coming in a little bit there, so that when it folds, you're not folding that in. Oh, it really doesn't want to play with me, does it? Right, so we're going on there. And as we sew it, we're going to tuck it all in, okay? Who's Diana Jones? Hello, Diana Jones. It says, Diana Jones is watching. That's something I've not seen before. You're running late. It's okay. You can always catch up later, Heather. We don't mind if you're running late. So we're going to baste this because I'm having awful trouble with it. Where are we going? Am I on 4? We're going to baste this to the bottom and then sew it going up the side. So you're going to baste it within the seam allowance. In fact, if we're going to baste it, we'll go up. Up a little bit, like that, and stop by there. I'm going to turn it, and we're going to come up, and hopefully it'll all stay tucked in as I sew it down. Okay. Now, if you're going to use corduroy or a thick fabric, just remember you're messing around with thick fabric, so you need to make sure that your stitch length goes up a little so that your sewing machine's not labouring with it. So as you can see, we've managed to get that in there. So if we fold, so I folded that so that it's on the mark of where I've put the last one. Okay, and we're going to find the other one, and I'm going to put it on the line that we've just folded. And we want this one to go in there. Alright, so again we're going to baste it in place, but because of how sewing machines work, we're going to start from that side this time. And we're going to along there to hold it down. That is your stitch. Oh, gone too far. And then twist it, and we're going to baste the bottom in place. Now you're going to lose some of this in your seam allowance. Okay, so there we go. So we now have two of our doodahs in. Okay, all right, you are going to lose some of this. I mean, it seems a bit big now, but you're going to lose some of this in your seam allowance. So we're now going to place that one. I'm trying to do it so that all my ridges, that's why I keep turning it around. I'm trying to do it so that all my ridges are running in the same direction. I haven't checked the nap, I have to be honest, but they are all running down. The nap is. What am I doing now? So I'm going to baste these to the edges. That way you're not fighting with it as you're, if you based it in place, you're not fighting with it when you're moving stuff around. Okay, so I'm just going to baste those. I'm basting these to the corners. So we're already on Thursday. We're rushing towards the weekend. So are any of you doing something nice for the weekend? We've had 2 people in the shop today who have come down this way on weekend excursions, or one lady was for a week. They've been down. They're staying at Porthcawl. So Linda and I have directed them to go to Rest Bay, because that's always a good visit for me. Love Rest Bay. I've got a lot of childhood memories wrapped up in that place. You know, of all the beaches I've been in the world, that one is my favourite. Okay, so we are... You're having a sew day with your bestie. That's nice. Right, let's just put the iron in. I want to iron that bit. Right, so we now have our corners in. Okay, they're looking all right. Now, our nap is running down. So you're going to want your nap running down. And then there's our wadding. Now you could put a bit of glue on there, but it's small enough that it's holding its own, hopefully. So we're just ironing that bit of a crease out. There we go. Right, so now we're going to build this. All right, so we're going to start with this like that, and I'm going to put my pocket in there. Okay, like that. Now it's always difficult to find out where am I going to put the gap for turning. Okay, if you're not going to bind it, because that is an option, you could just put it all together, sandwich it all together, and then put a binding round, which would work just as well. I'm going to try and get it out of here. I think there's too much there to be turning it back around. Turning it back around for you to push it all through there, and then putting a hem on it so that you can top stitch it. So I'm going to go from here. It's not a big enough gap here, etc, etc. So we've built all this, okay, and I'm going to put my outside on top, and then we're going to clip it together. Now you want to make sure that it's definitely clipped here, because you want to hold all of that in place there. Okay, and then I'm going to stick a pin in there to hold it down, and a pin there. It's out the way of my seam, so I haven't got to worry about it. And then I'm going to put a pin up here. Oh, they're nice long ones. I'll stick one there. Nope, they're not going to go through. Big is not always better set. There we go. So I'm going up there, and I'm going there. just to hold it in place while I sew. And I'm going to use edge of foot, and we're going to see how that goes, because you've got all these layers, and the trouble is you end up losing some of them. Move this up. Was it they say measure twice, cut once? So we're just checking all the way round that everything fits before we take it over to sew it. We could do with bringing this over a bit to there. But by doing it with a bigger seam allowance, I mean, you can always trim the seam allowance off after you've done it. I think that's what they do with like French seams and stuff as well, isn't it? There we go. Okay, which side are we going to sew on? I think this side. Can see a bit more, and hope that the wadding doesn't get caught up on my feed dogs. Right, so the button loop I'm going to put it in at the end. So where's my opening? There. So I'm going to put that in just before I top stitch it, because I'm going to leave the hole where I want the button loop to go. So I'm just going to use edge of foot. Like that, all the way around. Now I've left it on the bigger stitch, I've left it on 3.5 because I want to be able to it to go through all of this. All this bulk. To be quite honest, I don't know why he wanted a button loop, because he never used the last button loop, but he says he does, so it went in. You can see it all shifting. So going around, edge of foot all the way around. Yeah, I can feel the fabric shifting. So that's the thick end that I'm on at the moment. Just feeling for the fabric. You can hear it change tone as it goes over the thick bits. Remember, I want a gap there. So we're just going to there we go. So now we're going to birth it. Okay. Would it be easier to use a walking foot? Yes, probably would have been a lot easier to use a walking foot. But I always think about it in the middle of something. I have proper topic moments where I always remember at the end. So yes, if you don't mind putting your walking foot on, then that's a good idea. Now you can see here where it's only just done the 1/4 of an inch here, but we're going to hope that that's going to be all right, because if it's not, I've already trimmed it. I'm just taking off some of the bulk that's going to otherwise end up in my seams. And I'm taking off the corners because you like a nice neat corner. Okay, just take that bit off there. Okay, fingers crossed, ladies. Drum roll. So we're going to try and get it out of there and hope that we've caught everything, because if not, we're just going to talk through the rest of it. Okay. Yeah, yesterday making the other one, I think I redid it 4 times just to try and get that little bit in the seam. So it just pushing it out. It would be nicer to have a bigger hole, but there isn't really an easy place for you to do that on it. A flap and a popper, yes. I saw, because I've been looking at things on my Pinterest. My Pinterest then brought up all of these different ways of doing things, and I kept thinking, oh, that would have been a good idea. But I mean, my cover is one of those magnetic ones. Right, okay. So this now turns that way. The amount of times that I've turned something through and thought, oh, I put it all together wrong, because this bit ends up on the other side, and you think, oh, I've done it wrong, but you haven't. Everything's fine. So there's my corner, like that. And by coming round the corner here, it gives you a corner. If you were to start without, if you were to start here, you don't have that corner. So it's better to, that's why you leave the gap here, because you've got a corner. Got a proper corner. There we go. Let's push this one out. Just checking to make sure I put all my bears around the right way then. So we're going along here like that, and then flipping a corner. There we go. Look at that. Right, does it still fit? Does. I was hoping it was going to be too small. There we are, he has a choice now, doesn't he? Flips on it. So, okay. Oh, we haven't top stitched it yet, so we're going to top stitch it and get the button loop in. Sort this. Hang on. Let's come over here. That way you can see what I'm doing and I'm not stretching the wrong way. So I'm just trying to put it, it's going to be an awful lot going through the machine. Got to hope Sarah's machine is going to take it. Mine was pretty good yesterday, but then I didn't use those in corduroy. So we've got our hem here, so you want to make sure that you've got that turn in ironed in, because we're going to top stitch it closed. That works like that. Now a bit, I mean, you can always quilt it before you do anything with it. I don't know where I got the fabric from, Leslie. I think it was when we were in Swansea. We were doing a thing in Swansea. Yeah, we were doing a thing in Swansea, and I think I got it there. Okay, so you're going to put your button loop in there, like that, okay? And we're going to top stitch it in place as we go round. Right, fingers crossed, girls. What are we on 4? So I'm actually going to start my top stitch there. So I'm picking a point on my foot as usual. I'm going to go slow and steady. Around here. Now I've left my loops open because there's a lot of fabric there, but you could use a ribbon, which would be a lot less fabric. And yeah, a walking foot would help tremendously with this. Of course, like I say, I always remember at the end. So you're going to shorten the amount of storage space, so I might get one yet, because you're taking off another ½ an inch off the finished size because you're putting in a top stitch. Sorry, I'm forgetting to talk. My top stitching is atrocious, by the way. I don't think it's going to go along here. I don't think it's going to like it at all. So I'm gonna stop it there because I am so scared about breaking her her machines. So are we on YouTube? Yes, you can find us on YouTube. Just put in White Gecko Craft Lounge and you'll find us on YouTube. You'll be able to catch up. Sian is putting, I think she puts us on there weekly. Sian is our other gecko, so you'll be able to find us all there. So you would top stitch all the way round. Now, like I say, I'm paranoid about breaking Sarah's machine, so I'm going to do that one on mine, because if I break it, it's mine. There's an awful lot of fabric here. I might go back in and trim it. I might unpick it and trim it, but you can see that. Look at my top stitching. That's awful. Right, so you can see that I've now lessened the amount of movage in there with my top stitching. So you never know, by the time I've top stitched that side, it might be too small for Dave's one. You would then work out where you need your button and sew your button on, and you're going to have to do that by hand, I'm afraid. I think this might be too thick. I might do one out of the bare fabric instead, because that might be too thick for a button by the time you've sewn it on. But there you go. So we've gone from the tatty one to this one, and you can see that that actually fits in there perfectly. So if you're doing one like me, think about what you're putting in your fabric wise. I think this was not a good idea, because it thickens everything up. All right, stick to your cotton fabrics with these. It's all right there, but yeah, it gets a bit thick. Ta-da! It's another project done. Let's put that button in there, shall we? So there we go. Now, is this still all right? I haven't moved it or anything because I can't see you. Oh, I can't see me. I can see you. An elastic hairband. Oh, I've got some of those in my sewing desk that I was using for the ear loops on the masks. I will go and have a look and see if I can find one. Good idea, Joy. Lovely, thank you. That's okay. I look forward to seeing all of your the batting smaller. Yeah, I thought it was small enough, but I mean, if you took the batting down and actually sprayed it into place and quilted it, I mean, you could quilt. There's no reason why you can't quilt into this, the batting and your front fabric before you do anything. There's no reason why you couldn't do that. You could even use orphan blocks. We've used corduroy because I had some and he wanted the same. So there's no reason why you couldn't use an orphan block and make sure that you add bits to it so that your orphan block sits in the front. That would be quite nice. Size it down for a phone case. Don't give Linda ideas. She wants me to sort out a phone case for her. But yes, you could size it down. All you have to do is to make sure that you're an inch bigger, depending on your seam allowance. That's right, I left an inch at the top and the bottom. When we did the journal covers, because I was using all cotton fabrics, we left so it was a whole inch, so that you had half an inch play for do your 1/4 inch seam and then top stitching. With this, you need an inch top and bottom. I think the larger your fabrics, I mean, you could, if it turns out it's too big, make your top stitch further away from the edge, which will then make it smaller. Can't think of anything else. Any questions? Nope. So we are back now next week. We'll only be here Tuesday and Wednesday here, but we'll bring you Sarah will do some lives, I'm sure, from the quilt show that we're going to in Llandilo, so you'll be able to see those. Okay, so I'm going to turn the computer off so that when Sarah turns it back on, it hopefully all goes back to what it should be, instead of just the comments in the middle. I shouldn't be let out on my own. Right, I'll see you next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye. I haven't even got a turn it off button. How am I going to turn it off? No, that's watch. What if I go home? Home. No, that's still not working. Oh, now you're going to be there all this time waiting for me to turn it off because I don't know how to do it. What if I go there? Am I there? Okay, I think I found it. I found you. Nope. No, I haven't. Click to expand. I found you. Ooh. No, no, I haven't. I can't see where to turn it off. Click to expand. I found you. Ooh. Live chat. No. No, no, I haven't. Overview. I can't see where to turn it off. Click to expand. I found you. Ooh. Live chat. No. No, no, I haven't. Overview. I can't see where to turn it off. Click to expand. I found you. Ooh. Live chat. Oh, there we go. I can transfer it. I can turn off. No. No. We could be here all day. What if I do that? No. Facebook. What's this? No. Pull the plug. I might have to. I don't know. I don't know where to go to turn it off. See, I can continue watching. I can turn the sound off. I can enlarge. I might just leave you here for the rest of the day. Manage posts. No. No. Is anybody any ideas on how to stop it? What's that? Hide comments? No. Settings, captions, enter full screen. What if I do that? I don't know whether I'm still there. What do you mean? Don't just find out how I'm supposed to do it. Well, it says live video. If you press live video, where's that? No. There's normally a button over the other side that says you can stop it. I can't even ask Phil because I think Phil's gone to meet Sarah. Right. I'm going to turn it off at the plug, I think. So, I don't know whether it's... Oh, I know. What if I do that and then stop streaming? Right, we're going to try that.